It's puck time. We've got a miserable Carm and a happy Alex. I'm the Prez. Carm, you're looking old today.
Yeah, I didn't shave. I don't feel good. I'm filling in and I'm fucking recovering from Sunday. Sunday was an absolutely horrible day. I got my fucking Pepsi AC, got my fucking Tums. I got Axe body spray to hide the smell and stench of Sunday's loss. I'm just not a happy guy today.
You had a great Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday was good.
Feels so long ago, though, doesn't it?
It does. Listen, no one remembers what happened on Saturday when you lose on Sunday. It's just the way it is, and guys should be pissed. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, you were on the Saints yesterday. It was clearly the wrong call. No interception at the end there, and Philadelphia could have won the game outright. It happens, dude. Like, you're gonna be wrong. You're gonna be wrong.
I love
Alex, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. I had the Saints as well too.
Oh,
but
good. Where's Andrew or Dave Koken? I don't want to hear from either of you two.
I'm not as upset about it. I mean, like I said, it was just one of those weird games where anything could have happened. I thought the Saints were going to blow out Philly, and they pretty much did if you count second, third, fourth quarter. But
if you know what else? If Reggie White came back and Lawrence Taylor played and Bill Parcells was the coach and Carm had hair, you're like,
yeah. I mean,
oh, where are you guys?
I want to go eat something, so let's talk some hockey here. Let's get going.
Okay, it's puck time. Same promo as always, and then I'm going to tell you guys about a new promo we're doing this week only. Go to sportsmemo.com, wagertalk.com, use the promo code PuckTime. One word, 7 days of all our plays. Alex, me, Andrew, Koken, Buster, whichever one you want for only $39. 6 games on the board today. We're going to take all of them apart. Before we get into that, I want to tell you something. I did Morning Joe in the Pro earlier with Teddy. Mm-hmm. Teddy's a very close friend of mine, and all we do is pretty much be mean to each other. As a result, I have a 5-unit play for Sunday in NFL. It's up at WagerTalk.com. Teddy has a 5-unit play in NFL on Sunday. It's up at WagerTalk.com. Today only, it is $9. Tomorrow it goes up to $30. Teddy and I were arguing about who writes better analysis. Listeners, Teddy and I are on the same play. You only need to buy one. Same play. However, buy them both and email Missy at WagerTalk who wrote better analysis. If you are on the majority, whatever you spent, we will give you back double in wager bucks. There's no right or wrong answer. You just got to be part of the majority. 60% say Teddy writes better analysis. 60% are wrong, but they will still receive double their money in wager bucks. Simple.
You know, if you're using the 60%, since we're talking, we're going to flip to hockey. If you're using the 60% number, when you look at Corsi numbers, 60% is fantastic. It's the upper elite of the NHL. Most teams range, or players range, 40 to 60. 60 is the elite of the NHL teams. And I'm going to get into Corsi when we get into the Toronto Maple Leafs discussion.
Well, then let's go.
All right.
Toronto Maple Leafs at home, play in Colorado.
Yeah, Frederik Andersen back in net tonight for the Leafs.
Thank God.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's good to see.
He's finally over the flu.
I don't know. Colorado, they're looking like Colorado of a couple of years ago, who started off well and then they just kind of petered out. It's something that's happening to the Sabres as well too, and we'll discuss them a little later. But I just don't know. They got one very good line. We discussed that a couple shows ago. But they're just struggling right now. I think they've lost 7 in a row on the road, if I remember correctly, and they're going into Toronto now. The Leafs are coming off a tough loss at home. They've lost like 4 or 5 at home, but against some pretty good teams. They're not dropping games against the bottom half of the league. They're dropping them off against some pretty damn good teams, and I think they rebound tonight in a big way against Colorado. But speaking of, as I discussed, like Corsi numbers, I talked to a lot of my friends. And they always, because they're Leaf fans like you, Lawrence, all they talk about is Nylander. Ever since Nylander came back, the Leafs haven't played well. That's actually wrong if you look at Corsi numbers. Like if you look at Corsi numbers, which like I talked about 40, 60, and I use a lot of like Corsi, Fenwick, a lot of stats. The Leafs pre-Nylander were at 28th in Corsi numbers in the league, with Nylander in now, and this is, we're talking about measuring metrics like shots on goal. Okay, 4, they were 6th. Now they're 2nd. Against, they were 28th. Now they're 17th. Pace-wise, they're 1st overall. A lot of what the Leafs are going through right now has to do with their goaltending, which is good that, you've got Frederik Andersen back. Like a lot of their numbers, going from allowing 2.07 goals against to 2.72. These are big numbers when you look at the overall scope of how a team does. I am sure they're happy to have him back. Sparks, I think, was on the ice and he's cleared. Leafs might be back to their regular starter backup.
Yeah, and it's a huge factor because Frederik was playing really good hockey. Can you, now that you've given us this incredibly long-winded story, can you actually tell us who you're going to bet in this game or no?
Well, here's a stat I want to throw out, which I like the Leafs tonight. Obviously, Lane 190. It's a killer over to your bankroll, Lane, those types of numbers. Puck line had a lot of value early on in the when I played in the morning. It was at plus 165, laying a goal and a half. It's at about 140 now. The puck line's come down. Since the start of the season, okay, if you remember, the Leafs lost 5-3 to the 5-3 to the Senators, and then followed up with a 7-6 win in overtime. But every single time the Leafs have won a game off a loss, okay, so winning a game off a loss. It's happened 8 times this year since the beginning of the season, and they're 8-0. Okay, obviously winning the game, but by 2+ goals. So they've covered the puck line in 8 straight games when they've won off a loss. And obviously the loss on Saturday against the Bruins. I know these are sort of trends, but it's one that I think fits perfectly tonight with a struggling Avalanche team.
Okay, I got to stop you here. This can't be the Leafs show. We'll do one, though.
To be, but it's not going to be.
We'll do one, though. Alex, let's move on to the next game. Philadelphia hosting Minnesota. I actually called Philadelphia for an upset win last week. They beat Dallas 2-1. They lost to New Jersey 2-3. Philly's a mess. They've lost 9 of their last 10 games. Minnesota has been playing really good hockey of late. They've won 4 of their last 6. Although they did lose to Detroit, another game that I suggested our listeners play. It's pretty much a pick 'em across the board. And the over and under is 5.5, which is a low number, but both these teams are playing to the under. What do you think we should do in this game?
Well, I got a side play that's available at Sports Memo on this, but let's talk about the total here because the total is something I almost fired on as well. These are two teams, like I said, trending under. If you look at the last 10 games for each, Minnesota, 6 of their last 10 under the total. Philadelphia, 7 of their last 10 on the total. You got a Wild team that has struggled offensively, and you mentioned that Detroit game was played here in Minnesota, a 5-2 loss. Bruce Boudreau said it was the worst game he had seen the Wild play during his time at coach, which is quite interesting because the Wild have played some really bad games since he's been coach, and usually they've saved it for games that matter, but he was not happy with that. So that is always something I always try to look for and see if, obviously that's going to try and fire the team up a bit. But like I said, this Philly team's an absolute disaster fire, but especially offensively. Last 4 games, they've scored 8 goals total. While they've only scored 6 goals in their last 4 games total. So this total at 6, I think we're going to to see Devin Dubnyk start here because they play at home tomorrow against LA, and it says Alex Stalock might be the one getting that nod. So obviously on a back-to-back. Yeah, huge difference. But Dubnyk and Hart has played well, considering he's kind of just been thrown in the middle of this fire. I would look at playing this under 6 tonight.
Under 6. There are a few 6s out there, so shop around, guys, and take a flyer on that under. I like it. I mean, I think this game is 2-1 written all over it, so I agree 100%. Carm, let's talk about the Devils against the Blackhawks. I don't know why that's funny. Both teams stink. The Devils are anywhere from minus 150 to 167. The over and under is pretty much 6. Chicago's lost their last 3. They've lost 5 of their last 6. New Jersey finally won a game. They beat Philadelphia 3-2, but they have also lost 2 of their last 5 games. I think the value is a little too much for New Jersey, but I do lean on New Jersey. And although Alex will tell us why we should bet the over in the first period, I like under the total of 6 in this game. What do you think, Carm?
Well, Hawks games, I think their last 4 have had 7+ goals, 3 straight 4-3 losses, and then a 5-3 win over the Penguins. But they're back to. The Hawks are back to scoring goals. You've got Kane and I can never pronounce his name right. No.
DeBrincat. Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his name. You're a Chicago guy, so you should be able to think. But they're putting points on the board. I'm not a big New Jersey fan. I mean, I actually think that I'd rather take a slight dog here with the Blackhawks. I think they're live at plus 137. When you've got 2 bad teams, it's really tough. If anything, the Hawks have looked sort of decent. You know what I mean? Like they've picked up points in 4 of their last 5. So, and 4 wins their last 10. I know that doesn't sound really good, but when teams are putting up 2-8 records, they're past 10. It's tough. It's tough to take these teams. Like who would figure out what is going on in the NHL right now? You had Anaheim and Ottawa, 2 0-7 teams facing each other. Anaheim loses and then comes back and beats. Did they beat? No, actually they lost to Pittsburgh that night. But
But boy, did they start well. They won the first period.
Yeah, I think that's I kind of tuned out there, but I think Pittsburgh put 4 past them in the final period to win that game. I think it was 7-5 or something like that.
7-5 or something like that.
Yeah, these are tough games. It's really hard to make a case for the Devils. It's really hard to make a case for the Hawks. But if anything, I would likely take the plus money here with a bad Hawks team who might still be better than a bad Devils team.
Alex, is the over in the first period still in play?
Absolutely. 9 straight and 24 of the last 27 games. First period has gone over the total. And the Hawks in full game as well, they've been going over the total. 13-7 on the road with a few pushes included in there. So this should be, like I said, 2 bad teams that are hanging around in games. But their issues have been defensively. So we could see a track meet here between the Hawks and Devils tonight.
Alex, let's get into the next game. St. Louis, a team that we've spoken about a lot this year because we expected more from them. They've won their last 2. They beat Dallas on the road. They beat Montreal. They lost to Dallas, and then they beat Philly. So they've won 3 of their last 4. I'm still struggling to get a real handle on this team. They're playing the mighty Caps tonight. The Caps are coming off of a 2-1 loss to Columbus, but they did win their last 3 games in which they put up a lot of points. The over and under is 5.5 in this game. Washington is favored anywhere from 155, 160, all the way to 182. I like the over in this hockey game. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I like the over in this one, too. I expect to see quite a bit of goals. The key in this 3 of last 4 wins for St. Louis is that in goal for those 3 wins, Jordan Binnington. He won't be playing tonight. It'll be Allen in net. Allen has struggled. He has lost I think it's 5 of his last 6. Meanwhile, you look on the flip side here for Washington, it's Phoenix Copley that's going to be in net because you had Holby that go down with a eye injury. I'm not sure what exactly. I think he took a stick through the mask or something. So he's been out the last couple games. Copley's done really well. He's won 5 of his last 6 starts. So like I said, this is a St. Louis team. They're starting to get their roll on a little bit offensively, but we know where Washington can come in and score at will. And they're also 5-1-1 the over their last 7 games against Western Conference opponents. I would also look at playing Washington here on the regulation line minus $1.25. I just don't see where the Blues are going to be able to keep up the whole game. So Capitals in the over.
I agree. I agree 1,000% with your analysis. He's Alex B. Smith. I'm the Prez. The bold, old-looking man is Carmine Bianco. Best soccer handicapper alive, killing everybody in NHL, winning in NFL, stinks playing poker, but a good dude nevertheless.
Thank you.
Good intro.
I'll leave it there. I'm not going to argue any of those points, but we'll leave it there.
Carm, Boston hosting Montreal tonight, minus 180 for Boston. Over and under, again, low, 5.5. But Montreal's games are all going under right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row under 5 for the Habs, which is pretty much where we thought it would be at the beginning of the season. And Boston's a shutdown team, man. Beat Toronto 3-2. They lost to Washington. But, 3 of the last 4 games, they've held teams under 2. I lean on the under in this game, but I like Boston in regulation. I think Montreal is a sell team right now, and Boston has won 6 of their last 7. I'm taking the Bruins.
Yeah, up until that game against Washington, they lost at home, and that was, I think, I posted something on Twitter about that. I think that was their 14th or 16th straight loss to the Capitals. You just don't see that as much anymore. In a league that is supposed to have a lot of parity. But yeah, they were on a roll, having won like 5 in a row prior to that loss, and bounced back with a win over your Toronto Maple Leafs. So that's good. But you know what? Listen, it's Tuukka Rask in net tonight against Carey Price, and as Price goes, the Canadiens go. It's just the way it is. He's been carrying that team. But yeah, if you look at totals, the last 4 in Boston between these two have gone under, and overall 9 of the last 10 between these two have gone under the total. I think it's going to be another game where they live and die by what Price does tonight. I would love to say that the Habs are a live dog. Problem is that Price could give up 2 and they'll still lose like 2-0, 2-1 because they're just not scoring at times, right? So, I hate to say it, but I believe you're right. We talked about this. I think Montreal is a sell team right now. I don't think they make the playoffs. I don't think the Sabres make the playoffs. There's a lot of teams that are trending downwards.
The Islanders, I don't think the Islanders will make the playoffs. I think they'll be the closest of those 3, though.
Yeah, I think so too.
Alex, any quick thoughts on this Boston-Montreal game in 30 seconds?
No, the only thing I would look at would be the under. Like I said, 1-8-1 the last 10 meetings. I think this could be a low-scoring game. Like I said, we've seen Rask and Price play pretty strong against one another in this rivalry series throughout the years.
Alex, Edmonton hosting Buffalo tonight. It's a short number for a home team, minus 120. Buffalo's coming off of 2 losses in a row, 3 of their last 4 and 6 of their last 8. We spoke about this Buffalo team as a sell team as well. Edmonton is perfectly zigzagging in their last 6 games. Win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. Their last loss was to Arizona, and it was at home. Alex, I'm going to stick with the zigzag here, and I'm going to play Edmonton at minus 123, even with Buffalo coming in healthy finally. The over and under is 5.5 or 6. I lean on over the total in this game, but I actually like the Oilers.
Yeah, you can make a case for both of these teams. Like I said, a couple of teams that have struggled off and on throughout a while. Like I said, Edmonton zigzagging. They've also done pretty well against the East at home, 5-1-1 against Eastern Conference clubs. And that's always key to look at because Edmonton being a team kind of in the further regions, usually catching teams from the East Coast in the middle or toward the end of a road trip. So a key note to make there. But like I said, this is a Buffalo team finally healthy again. It's going to take them a while for them to kind of gel together as a lineup. Overall, but they played tough against a couple of good opponents, Carolina and Tampa Bay, teams that we've seen trending upward. But like I said, this is the third game in the last 4 nights now for Buffalo going into Edmonton. I think Edmonton will find a way to get a win here.
Carm?
Yeah, it's a game that I put up on WagerTalk as a free play. I did take the Oilers minus 120, more along the same lines. It's more of a sell on the Sabres than it is confidence in Edmonton. I did have Edmonton on.
We're losing Carm.
That game, I thought, because he took a puck
Connor Garland a lot more.
A puck off the face and into the net for the game winner, 3-2 final. It's I don't think you've experienced those, Lawrence, playing your beer league hockey, but it's a tough one. Anytime you get hit with a frozen puck on bare skin at any point in time, especially the face. But Alex gives a good stat against for Edmonton against the East. And I know the Sabres are like, 9? I think they're 9-2-1 against Pacific Division foes this year. But again, they're trending downwards, and that's a number that sort of correlates with the first 2 months of the season where they were playing extremely well, and literally one of the top teams, or if not the top team in the standings point wise in the NHL. But things change, and they're trending downwards, and that number is going to come down as well too, playing a lot of these very tough Pacific Division teams. So Edmonton for me tonight.
That's the show, boys. He's Carmine. The other guy's Alex. We're calling it a day. Tomorrow we'll hopefully have Andrew and Alex with us, or Dave Koken and Alex. But Alex is always with us because, it's when he drinks Coke and he needs his damn Coke. Boys, exactly. Thanks for the show. Listeners, make sure to check us out every single day, Monday to Friday, at WagerTalk TV on YouTube. Guys, real pleasure. Good luck, and we'll speak to you tomorrow.
Good luck, guys.
Right. See you guys.